We have Naseem in the studio. I get so excited when Naseem's here.
As if
Hi,
on camera you're excited.
I know. Can I just say something?
Yeah, jumper.
Yeah, but you're wearing a new jumper.
Yeah.
I think you should every single week wear a different jumper.
Well, that's going to become
Different
expensive, isn't it?
I need to speak to your mum, honestly. But no, I'm glad you've made the effort and you're listening.
Yeah.
Well,
of course I have to. There's like, not just you, there's people behind the scenes as well.
Anyway, Naseem is going to be going through 3 films again, 2 cinema releases and 1 DVD.
Yes, of
so,
course.
Naseem,
Yep, should take
Take
it
it
away.
away.
Okay, so the first cinema release is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's a tongue-twisting title, but it's a Harry Potter prequel. It's set 70 years before. Like, I was talking to you, and I can't believe you haven't seen any of the Harry Potter films.
I haven't.
How have you not seen any of the Harry Potter?
I like films that are more realistic. Anyway, you are reviewing
Realistic.
the film.
The whole point is you go watch a film. Okay, so it's Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's a prequel to Harry Potter, so he's not in it at all. It's 70 years before he was born, and it focuses on a guy called Newt Scamander, and it's not even set in England, so it's set in New York. He takes like a trunk full of magical creatures and he lets it loose. That's basically the premise. Like, he lets it loose and they have to try and track it down. It's got an amazing cast. It's got Eddie Redmayne, who, have you seen Theory of Everything?
Yes.
The Stephen Hawking,
Yes.
him. He plays the lead character, Newt Scamander, and it's already doing well in cinemas. You know, they've said they're going to make 4 more of these. That's how well it's doing, because the Harry Potter fandom is big and huge.
Can I just say something?
What, go on.
You look like the Bengali version of Harry
come on.
Potter.
The first time I started working here, that's what everyone was calling me.
Really?
I escaped it. Now you've brought it up again.
Anyway, sorry, go back. Sorry, I'm disturbing you.
I'm
Go on.
flustered now. So it's the prequel. It's visual effects heavy, very magical, very fun, and it's got a lot of, because it's a British guy now in America. It's got a lot of that sort of humor where it's culture clash. And it's got other great people in it as well, like Colin Farrell, and Johnny Depp's actually in it, but he's got a very small role, which is set up for future films. And people don't really like Johnny Depp right now because he just does the same thing all the time, and he's got that little controversy with his ex-wife and stuff like that. But he's good in the film, and it's basically Harry Potter. It's directed by David Yates, who directed most of the Harry Potter films, so it's got that same tone. It's a lot darker than the first couple of Harry Potter films. And it's actually written by J.K. Rowling. She's never written any of the Harry Potter films. She's written all the books, of course, but it's the first film that she's written by herself. And because it's her first written film, it's a bit shaky in some parts, but it's it's Harry Potter. It's magical. It's fun. It's cute and all that sort of stuff. And it's definitely the best film that's out in cinema this week. The second cinema release is a smaller film, much smaller film called Panic. It was actually made in 2014, but it's only coming out this year. I think they held it back because the lead is a guy called David Gyasi. He only in the past 2 years he's made it big in Hollywood. Like, he was in Interstellar, which is an amazing film, and he was in Cloud Atlas, another great film. Both very long films, and I think the studio decided, look, if we want this film to be big, we hold it back, make this guy get bigger, and then we release the film when he's that big. But he hasn't quite gotten that big yet, but they've decided to release it anyway. And it's kind of an interesting story. Me as a journalism student, I find it quite interesting, because the story is basically this guy. He's a visual photographer. He's a visual journalist. And one day he's just testing out his camera out the window, and he sees his apartment neighbor across the window get kidnapped or whatever. And he's sort of like, it becomes a thriller from then. He's like an investigative journalist. He's trying to find out what's happening. Did he actually see it? And stuff. It's one of those mind twisters. And the film's been like sort of praised and lauded because it's a black lead who isn't involved in gangs or drugs and stuff like that. You know how films these days are so stereotypical, but this guy's an educated journalist who's just trying to find out the truth, and he's not bad or evil in any sort of way, and it's being praised for that, and rightly so. It's a very good film. It's actually the first film by a guy called Sean Spencer. It's the first film he's ever written and directed by himself, and it's East London based. It's a very local London film, and it's been praised all around the world because of how visceral and sort of like thriller intense it is. And it's definitely if you're going for a smaller film and you don't like Fantastic Beasts, you don't like Harry Potter, then Panic is definitely the film to watch this week. It's definitely slick, stylish, dark, and it's got sort of a neon look to it, so very like 80s look to it. The third film, which I don't like talking about it, it's the DVD release, it's Independence Day Resurgence. Everyone loves Independence Day. The first film is amazing. Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, it's just fun, you know, apart from the ending. But we won't talk about that. It's a really good film. It's action-packed, it's funny, you know, it's big scale, huge. So you want the same thing from the second one. So the same director comes back, Jeff Goldblum comes back, but the missing piece that Will Smith doesn't come back.
No.
And of course you love
I
Will
think,
Smith.
yeah, Will Smith is amazing.
Exactly,
It can't be Independence Day. If
I know.
you know, if
He
he's
made
not
the
in
first
it.
film, so the way they work around it is they just say that his character died off screen or whatever, right? So this isn't spoilers, this is in the trailers and stuff. They say his character died off screen and it focuses on his son instead. And you know, his son, the actor that plays his son doesn't really have the charisma that Will Smith has. He just has natural charisma. And so the film sort of rests on Jeff Goldblum, who was the scientist from the first film. And he's good, you know, he's good. President Bill Pullman from the first film is back. You know, it's got young stars like Michael Monroe and Liam Hemsworth, who was in the Hunger Games. It's got all these young faces, but it never really feels like as good as the first film, even though it's got the same director, Roland Emmerich, who does all these big destruction films like 2012 or, you know, The Day After Tomorrow. He does all these big destruction films, and he goes even bigger in this. And, you know, some people liked Resurgence, some people didn't. It's a very divisive film. Honestly, if you're not looking to go to the cinema, there's not really any other good DVD releases this week apart from Independence Day Resurgence. It's a bit of an average film. It's action-packed, got some jokes, you know, dry humor. And it's usual story. The aliens from the first film come back and they've evolved, and the humans have evolved because they use the alien technology from the first film to better their society. And it's that battle once again. Again, action-packed alien. And last week we talked about Arrival, which is the other film that sort of takes inspiration from Independence Day, where the aliens come. And if you were to compare the two films, definitely Arrival. You know, it's a much more smarter person's film, and same sort of action, better performances, and everything like that. But Independence Day is definitely the best DVD release. There's not that many DVDs coming out towards the end of Christmas. Well, they come out towards the end of Christmas, but not right now, towards the end of November. So the three films, if I recap them again, it is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's the Harry Potter prequel. It's visual effects heavy, funny. You got the culture clash, and you got good performances as well. And it's J.K. Rowling writing, so it's going to be fun either way. The second film is Panic, definitely the smaller film of this week. I try to pick smaller films because I know you always go for the like Turtles or whatever, you know, these films. But you know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You said you're going to go watch that instead, you know. So there's a big film which is Fantastic Beasts. The smaller film, which is Panic. You know, it's a tense thriller, neon action thriller. Definitely a mind twister. And the DVD release of the week is Independence Day Resurgence. It's average, but it's Independence Day. You know, you get what you get.
I actually want to watch Panic.
Yeah, of course, yeah. You're going to be contrarian because I've just pointed out, because I've tried to have a guess.
No, Nissi, you need to get to know me a little bit better. Anyway, thank you for coming in.
Yeah.